Anyways, guys, hopefully the Eagles don't need to actually have that to do that to the Giants tonight. More realistically, that would be the Giants doing that, right? Because like birds are fish and fish are birds. Anyway, though, yeah, we got some stuff to get into. Also, big week college football coming up as well. And with that, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Fun NFL. Please like and subscribe if you guys enjoy the NFL Week 6 Thursday night football prediction, as I'll be going through this game as well. If you have not seen past Thursday night football games that I've given you guys predictions for, well, I mean, I wouldn't be too surprised because this is a pretty big one. But after we get through this, we will be going through the college football game day picks that I'll be making this week. And again, every week there's 10 games. There's some other shenanigans to go along with it. But yeah, a little college football for y'all. But anyway, our Thursday night football matchup this week will be the 4-1 Philadelphia Eagles coming off their first loss of the season against the NYG New York Giants. The Giants, they're not very good. We saw that last week against the Saints. But Jackson Dart is still a hopefully promising quarterback. I don't know. We got two very different versions of him and two very different performances by that Giants team. But first for the Eagles, like I said, they did suffer their first loss last week on Sunday against the Broncos. That was going into the fourth quarter. They were up 17-3. They proceeded to give 18 points. Their offense did absolutely nothing in that fourth quarter. And, they lost the game because, they gave up 2-point conversion and some other things they went on to do. But as you all know, the Eagles have not put together a full 4 quarters of football yet. This is definitely a good opportunity for them to do so. On top of the fact that their superstar running back, Saquon Barkley, who just ran for 2,000 yards a year ago, has yet to, again, outside, I guess, the Chiefs game, has yet to really put a complete performance together and really blow up like he did basically every week of last year. So watch out for that against his former team. Meanwhile, for the Giants, I said they, again, didn't play very well against the Saints last week, as, again, with 5 turnovers and Jackson Dart kind of mailing things in at the end there. Now, I don't think he was still trying to win, obviously, but, in terms of his actual play. They ended up losing by double digits to the Saints. That was an offense for the Giants that didn't score after their first, 2 or 3 drives, something like that. And they really struggled. But again, the last time they were home in week 4 against the Chargers to get their first win of the season. Again, behind a really good defensive effort, which is probably what they're going to need in this one. But nonetheless, this game will be at 8:15 on Amazon, not Fox. That's just not true. I think you can watch it with NFL Plus. Again, you're going to need Amazon either way, though. And again, like I said, Saquon Barkley, you all know, again, last year when he came to MetLife in week 7, he absolutely embarrassed the Giants. He put up 160-something yards. I'm not going to say that. But, again, 3 long runs in that game. That was an absolute arse whooping. I think the final score was 28-3. Sorry, Falcons fans. But also, he wasn't even used in the fourth quarter that week, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, maybe we'll see something similar to that. Also, I'd like to mention that that these two teams met. Again, we're going way back now, 7 years. But Saquon's debut on Thursday Night Football was against the Eagles, and he went off even though the Giants got blown out. I just wanted to mention that. Weather for this game, we get 52 degrees, a little bit of wind. It's supposed to be a little chilly, again, relative to what we've seen the past couple days in New England. But still, again, fine there in East Rutherford. Clear skies as well. Announcing this game will be Al Michaels, Kirk Herbstreit, and Kaylee Hartung. We look at the Eagles starting lineup. They're relatively healthy. Again, if you didn't know, their their team had a meeting with, again, the woes they've been experiencing. Jalen Hurts has yet to have a great game as a passer outside of, again, maybe a half against the Rams. That might be, again, being a little bit nice there. Saquon, like I said, I've already talked about him. A.J. Dillon's their backup, Will Shipley. Probably got there a little bit. Not even know what happened to Tank Bigsby. A.J. Brown has struggled a lot this year. That has been a huge storyline for this team. I think it's been a little bit overblown, but at the same time, he has yet to do much of anything. Devontae Smith, he's been pretty solid. There's no complaints about him. Again, I guess he could have been better, but still, he was really good last week. John Dotson has been better than last year. Dallas Goedert's been a solid option to tight end. I think he's had 3 touchdowns the last 2 weeks. O-line-wise, they're a little bit banged up. Landon Dickerson will be out, which is a big loss because Matt Pryor's not a guy you'd want to see out there. Brett Toth is a better pass blocker, but he does not fit this run scheme really well at all. Cam Jurgens, Tyler Steen, Lane Johnson are all obviously very good players, but they weren't coming off their greatest performance either. For this defense, Jalen Carter is questionable. That would be a big loss. Moro Jomo isn't a guy you can really see win one-on-one too often. Jordan Davis, though, Byron Young are interesting options. Again, they have moved Zarius Smith to this 3-tech spot. Again, he's actually kicking out, to 4-eye a little bit too, so a little bit bizarre things going on there, but he's been, intriguing add too, again, the veteran there. Again, he's technically their starting edge rusher right now with Nolan Smith on IR, but I really don't think that's the case. Ezekiel Ojulari is just a better player. Jalen Hunt's been pretty solid this season, though. Again, a little bit fading out the past couple weeks, though. Joshua Uche has been inconsistent. John Campbell, Zach Bono, the starting linebackers, and Kobe Dean on the PUP list. Samil Mana Jr., Jeremy Trotter Jr., the other 2 rookies. They have literally 3 starting rookie linebackers on this team. are all there as well. Kelly Ringo is going to start this week. Adoree Jackson got benched. Corey Bennett's also on IR, does not help. Quinyon Mitchell has been pretty good. Cooper DeJean, maybe not so much at times, but still, again, overall has been solid. Reed Blankenship, Andrew Nakuba are the safeties. Jake Elliott, Brandon Mann, Jahan Dotson, Will Shipley, Cal Dominus round out their special teams unit as well. For the Giants, Jackson Dart at quarterback. Cam Scatabo is the running back coming off his, again, toughest game so far. Tyron Tracy Jr. is finally back and healthy. I mean, finally, it's been like 2 weeks. Wanna Robinson, yeah, this is going to be a rough game at receiver. They literally technically only have 3 active, healthy receivers. It's not going to really get done. Darius Slayton will be out for this game as well. You do have, the dude here. Again, my bad, 4 active receivers. Theo Johnson, Daniel Bellinger at tight end. Those guys are going to have big weeks. O-line wise, Andrew Thomas, John Runyon have been very good this season. John Michael Schmitz has been, I guess, okay. I think he technically, in terms of EPA, he's a plus pass blocker, but I haven't really seen it yet on film. And then Greg Van Rowen's been whatever, and then, you got other things going on as well. For this defense, though, they've been really solid overall, but it doesn't matter when they're not consistently making up big plays, which is what they're going to need to be able to do the rest of the season. Darius Alexander is not coming off as great as week. The rest of the D-line has been pretty decent, though. Their edge rushing group is very, very good. Kayvon Thibodeau is really just coming on this season. Abdul Carter, the rookie, has shown a lot of flashes. Linebacker has been a big strength for them. Their secondary outside of Deontay Banks has been a good part of their team as well, even though Cordero Flat really isn't a starting caliber cornerback. Their special teams unit has been a little bit of mystery all year. Gunnar Olszewski has not really been a very efficient returner, and Casey Kreider is their long snapper. That is what I have there, though, for this game. Again, we haven't updated this since last week, so, yeah. But anyway, as I go through this, there's bye weeks again this week. Again, if you didn't know, again, there'll be bye weeks all the way up to, if I'm not mistaken, because I think they're trying to spread byes out a little bit more. I think it's through week 14 this year as usual, but there will be no, again, the past few years in 2023 and 2024, they had week 8 as, again, the week where no teams had a bye, so it was kind of like a random week where we actually had a full slate. But that shouldn't be the case, again, this year. So, again, I don't think we'll have a full slate, again, outside of Thanksgiving week until week 15, which should be pretty interesting. But with that said, let me find these teams. We're the Eagles. The Eagles are there, and then we're the Giants. This game for me is, if I can find the Giants, where are they at? Where are they at? There we go. This game is decent. The really only reason I say that in terms of why, again, I have any sort of value in this game is the fact that there's just a lot of good storylines. Both these teams are not playing good football right now. And most of the time, that it could create some sort of competitive atmosphere. And I wouldn't say need for desperation, but that's probably the best way to put it in this context. Both these teams need to play a good football game. More, again, for the Giants and their management trying to keep their jobs. And the Eagles are like, we just won the goddamn Super Bowl. Why are we playing like this? They got some stuff. Both these teams have a lot of issues. I don't think they're going to solve them with this win. But, again, this would definitely be a half step, if you want to put it at that, in the right direction for both of these teams. With that said, though, I think I have the Eagles as my eliminator pick, so I kind of do have to pick them. I would not be shocked if Saquon runs for 400 yards in this defense. I'm joking. But I expect this game to be close, expect it to be ugly, but I'm going to say the Eagles BS their way through it and win this one 21-20. Again, like I said, there's going to be something that crazy that happens. But that's my final prediction here. Let's get to our college football week. What are we on? 7? It's crazy. Here are my picks for that. And now we are going to go through these college football picks. Again, if you don't know, again, my pick 'em for the NFL is not very good. I went 4-10 last week, which is just, I don't even know how you're that bad, but still, it was not a good week. For college, though, I'm 39-21, which again isn't really that great, but still, I went 8-2 last week. My wrong picks were this Texas and Florida game. And then I also had the Miami one wrong. But again, you got to make some big swings here. Anyway, though, again, as the NFL gets halfway through, again, to the end of their first third of the season, college football is already, again, halfway done technically for the regular season, which is pretty crazy. But anyway, there's actually some huge games this week. Next week, not really that much, but still. First game we'll be talking about is Bama versus Missouri. Missouri's just been a team, to be honest with you guys, that in the SEC, outside of that 1 year, I think it was like Derrick Henry was on Alabama. They had a crappy quarterback the year. That was Bama. I think they might have won. I'm going to stop ranting there. Outside that 1 year where Missouri, that legit defense, and they kind of really run the ball, which Missouri usually does somewhat well. They haven't really been a team that I take seriously at all. They are home, which makes this interesting, but I don't really see how Bama drops this game with how they've been playing. They are one of the most talented teams in the country. Outside that Florida State game, they have looked like the best team in the country in a lot of ways. So, again, Ty Simpson's he's shredding through reads right now. He's cooking. Again, unless he makes a bunch of turnovers, which he hasn't really ever done in his career, outside of maybe that South Florida game a couple years ago, I don't see how Alabama loses this one. I'm going to say they win this one. I wouldn't say pretty handily, but definitely going to win it. Next up is the game day. Is where game day is going. We got Indiana versus Oregon. I'm not even going to talk about this one. Indiana, I think, is a decent team. They seem to have a very solid defense that can really hold, again, opponents, again, frustrate them a lot, but offensively they don't really have, as what I'm joking, they have Francisco Mendoza. He's an absolute stud there at quarterback. He has some really intriguing weapons, a couple of speedsters there. The running game is solid, but realistically, I don't see how they beat Oregon here. I don't think they're in that echelon, despite them being 5-0, and they dismantled Illinois the way they did. But guys, Oregon's supposed to be one of the best teams in the country. I expect them to play like they here, especially since it's in Eugene. I expect this to be a 2-touchdown win for Oregon. Now we move on to the Red River rivalry. Again, not really what you want it to be. Again, if John Mateer was healthy, who I think is the best quarterback in the country, I really think Oklahoma would win this one by 30. Texas is bad. I mean, there's no way around it. Their receiving room, Wingo was supposed to be some, like, I wouldn't say All-American, but he was supposed to be, like, one of the better receivers in the SEC. He has not really lived up to that at all. Their offensive line is very shaky, considering, again, they lost, like, guys like Kelvin Banks Jr. Their defense isn't too bad, but I don't want to rant too much on this for Texas. We all know that Ark Manning can't really throw a football very well, on top of the fact that he can't really play quarterback very well either. Again, those are just not really good things on. But it's kind of hard for me to say Oklahoma's going to win this despite having, again, the top 2 or 3 defense in the country, which is, again, something new for them. Because, again, people are like, oh, yeah, Brent Reynolds has had a good defense at Oklahoma. Not really. This is the first year where I think it's, like, again, legit. But, again, R. Mason Thomas, like, kind of being a little bit inconsistent has been an issue. Offensively, they still don't have that running game. I think that, again, we'll be able to subsidize not having John Mateer. So, this is a really tough one for me to pick, but I'm going to say Oklahoma pulls this one out. It's going to be an ugly, low-scoring game. But, again, I see Oklahoma being able to figure it out because, then this is my team, and, like, at the same time, like, we got to see something happen there. All right, moving on to the next game, TCU versus Kansas State. I'm going to keep, again, if it ain't broke, don't fix this. TCU's not a great team, but again, they're definitely a lot more confident than a very disappointing Kansas State team has been. So, again, they barely had Baylor last week, but they figured it out. So, I'm going to stick with TCU there. Next one's very interesting, Iowa State versus Colorado. Colorado's offense just doesn't even give me enough confidence against that Iowa State defense to really be able to compete with that Iowa State offense that was kind of bad last week, but I'm going to say Iowa State pulls this one out. Again, it could be close, but I don't really see that happening. Maryland sucks. Again, Nebraska isn't very good either, but, like, they're at least somewhat decent, so I'm going to say they beat Maryland, guys. Maryland's a joke. They've never been good in football outside of maybe a couple times, but still, we're not going to talk about that. Georgia, Auburn at Jordan-Hare Stadium. I want to pick Auburn so bad in this game. Jackson Arnold just doesn't really do enough for me. Georgia's defense is probably the least talented they've been in a couple of years now, but they still have some premier guys on that side of the football that I think will hurt a guy like Jackson Arnold, who will, again, get punished for making some bad decisions, but still, this is the best team Auburn's had in years. Again, it would be really unfortunate for them not to win this one. Again, last week they lost in a really low-scoring game. But I'm going to say Georgia wins this one. I think it's going to be definitely a really close game, though. Again, Jordan-Hare Stadium, crazy stuff happens. You know, screw, I'm picking Auburn in this one. I got to pick the odd upset. Again, I really feel that one going on. Michigan versus USC. USC is going to win. Michigan's kind of not a team, again, that I love, especially with this being went out in USC. Kind of a weird game. Again, I think it's Big Ten Saturday night as well. I say USC pulls off that upset. Moving on to BYU versus Arizona. BYU stays undefeated. It could definitely be one of those weird games where they don't win, but I don't really care, to be honest with you guys. Arizona State versus Utah. This is actually a tough one. Arizona State with Sam Leavitt and that running game just still gives me a lot of good confidence in them. But, guys, this team lost to Mississippi State. I'm not saying Mississippi State's a terrible team, but they're not that good. Utah, I mean, yeah, they played really bad against Texas Tech, but I don't think that offense is even close to that bad. Well, also, again, Devin Dampier was coming off a really bad game, though. So, again, we'll see if those struggles continue. But I see Utah with that solid defense being a lot better than we have in Arizona State winning this game. That's all I got for you guys here. But, again, we look at this, what did I say, 34-20. So, again, boring off 54 points there. Again, I'll deal with all these points later. That's what I got there, though. Hope you guys enjoyed. And, yeah, also enjoy that Thursday night game. And also here was, some Saquon when he was back on the Giants. Sorry again, Giants fans. But, again, we got to put that in there.
First and goal for the Giants. Taylor, option, Barkley, gets there for the touchdown. Second of the day for Saquon Barkley.